That's good. Good job competing this week. Let's hang it out tomorrow with a bang, all right? Family on three. 1, 2, 3. Family!
Tenney Stadium is once again filled with helmets and shoulder pads as Marist football works out during their spring practice sessions. Allotted 14 days on the turf, the team's practice time will culminate at the annual spring game later in April. As for now, coaches and players are taking advantage of every available moment.
Right now, a normal day starts for the guys at 6 o'clock in the morning. We start with meetings for about 45 minutes, position meetings, and then they'll go to eat, and then they'll come over and lift from 7:30 to about 8:15. Then we get on the field at 8:40 till 10:30, 10:40, and then they're off to classes for the rest of the day. I think we're an attack philosophy. I think that's really what we like to do. We'd rather get after you than sit back. I think it depends a little bit on your personnel. I think our personnel is more suited to an attack style philosophy. I think right now with the way offenses are doing things, you got to prevent them from doing what they want to do, and I think that's kind of how we do it, is we'd rather attack than sit back.
Always conditioning. You know, that's always a big part of the game coming in the second half. I felt like we actually did a lot better job in the second half, holding teams to fewer points just due to conditioning, and obviously it's just a lot of film work.
Over the last 4 or 5 years, our guys have really picked up well on differences in scheme from one day to the next or from one series to the next. So I think our guys really pick up quickly on any changes that we're throwing at them.
Scott Rumsey heads the defensive unit in his 16th season on head coach Jim Parody's staff.
I think Coach Rumsey's an excellent coach. He knows really how each player is. He adjusts to each player. I think that's what makes him a real special coach.
Very strategic, I would say. You know, we break it down for percentages of what team's going to run this on which side of the field. We have a ton of different looks to give offenses. So, you know, his planning is, you know, one of the best I've ever seen.
And we've been doing a lot of backpedaling drills and stuff like that, opening up, basically a lot of coverage stuff. I mean, as a DB perspective, we've been focusing a lot of that, like on the pass coverage.
Developing NFL prospects like Terrence Fede in 2013, Rumsey pointed out some key players to watch for this fall.
I think obviously Zach Adler's got to be one of those guys. He's led the league in interceptions for the last 2 years, so I think he's got to be one of those guys. Paul Sakowski, who's a returning all-league player from last year, has obviously got to be one of those guys. And I think, you know, just kind of going at every level, I think Nick Foster is going to be great up front for us. He's been really strong. You know, and a couple other guys to really keep your eyes out for. Zach Quarles has had a solid year. As we said, returning our entire linebacking crew. So we think we have a number of playmakers on the defense right now that are returning for us.
Every game, we're aware that teams are coming after us this year. And I mean, I think we're, as a team, excited for that, take on that role. And for Fede and Rios, that's a huge step for the program, the school.
For every other team in our league, you know, we're going to be the team to beat. You know, being co-champions last year is always going to be, you know, it's tough to, you know, get there, but it's tougher to stay there. So, you know, we're going to see how we do, and, you know, we're going to take it, you know, one game at a time, you know, same as we did last year, and answer every game with a win.
Co-champs of the PFL in 2013 and developing NFL prospects, the Red Foxes will definitely be in the spotlight next fall. Finishing 8-3 last season, spring practices are currently underway. You can next catch the team in action April 27th at their annual spring game. For the Red Fox Network, I'm Elizabeth Sim.